Namaste, DDs. My name is Sherry Sutton, and I am your marketing mentor. Apologies for being a couple of minutes late. I had a few technical issues, but I'm so excited to be here with you. We are back with our weekly free trainings. We went to doing them once a month, and then I got lonely, and I missed you guys. And so we're going back to every single week. So today we're going to talk about a very simple way of looking back at 2022. So, it's the end of the year, right? The Christmas tree's up and we've got a little bit of time, hopefully off maybe here in the next couple of weeks. It's a great time to not only reflect on what we've done over the last, year, but to also think ahead to what we want to be doing next year. And so this week, what we're going to talk about is a very simple way to look back at 2022 and really sort of evaluate where you're at. And I pick just the highest level things that are the most important. So we're going to talk about that in a second. And then next week, I'm going to be here again Thursday at noon Eastern Central Time. And we're going to talk about some journaling entries that you can do as you're getting ready for 2023, right? A lot of us have already planned, but just starting to think ahead, right? I think a lot of us are going to be doing planning over the holidays. So just some prep work for where to kind of start, right? Where to start with that, where to get your planning going, right? Before you put it on the calendar, there's a lot of kind of strategic work to do first. So we're going to work on that next Thursday. So, all right, I'm going to share my slides. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is my simple formula for looking back at 2022. There are so many different metrics that you can use, but these are, to me, the most important ones. Because if you don't know where you've come from, right, you don't know where you're going. And so one of the things that, especially as busy entrepreneurs and as solopreneurs, we don't really take time to kind of sit and reflect and look at our metrics and see how are things going, right? We tend to see, well, how much money is coming in, but that's usually the only metric that we look at. But often 100% of the time, that's not the full picture, right? So we have to make sure that we're looking at least a few key things besides just revenue to make sure we understand if our business is moving forward. So here's the key metrics that I recommend that you review. Again, there's a lot more that you could look at, but here's the couple that I recommend. So the first one is obviously revenue. I like to do all of these by month, right? So month over month, because you'll be able to see seasonal trends. And if you've been in business for a number of years, right, if you're able to do that over the last few years, you're going to be able to start seeing what are the trends, right? People tend to buy more in this month versus that month, right? And so really charting it out over time is very important. So I like to do it month by month. I actually have an accountant who helps me with this because I'm not a great numbers person. And so I need somebody to kind of walk me through it. And I get this like super anxiety when it comes to talking about, money and numbers and all of that, which I know is a very common thing, which is why I'm sharing it. So I get help, right? I have my accountant sit down with me and we go through my P&L. We do it month by month. We just did this the other day. It's such an incredible exercise because the next thing you really want to look at is your spend, and not just your overall spend, but your spend by category. And so I actually just did this, as I mentioned, with my accountant the other day, and it was really good because one of the things, I've made some shifts in the business. We've gone from kind of done for you services with a much larger team to a much smaller team, more one-on-one consulting services, more one-on-one mentorship type things, more group courses. And in the process of doing that, we've been able to increase what's called our margins, right? Or our net income or net revenue, because we were able to have fewer costs in order to deliver those services, right? And that's your ultimate goal. You have to know not only how much are you bringing in, but how much are you spending? And then what's the net of that, right? What's the net income that you're bringing in after your expenses? And I like, again, to chart that over time, especially if you've done like I did and you've made some, significant changes in your business, even small changes in your business, right? Like, hey, I moved to a new location, or I started doing Facebook ads, or I hired a new mentor, right? You're going to be able to say, okay, when I did that, what changed? Did my revenue go up as my expenses went up? Did they go down, right? Or I made sure that I saved money, but I also lost money. So maybe I need to spend more money in order to make more money, right? Because we have to also spend money to make money. So understanding the relationship between your revenue and your spending is a very important part of your business. And as you move forward into next year, it can give you the strategic guidance to say, okay, you know what? This is where I was really making the most money when I was doing this, right? Sometimes we could spend a lot of money and get nothing out of it, right? We've all done it. I've done it. You guys have done it. We've all done it. Or sometimes you don't spend enough and you don't have the materials you need, right? Or the knowledge that you need to grow your business. And so then you need to invest. So understanding both of those is incredibly important. And again, for me, as I shifted my business over the year, right, my margins, my net income has gone up significantly over the year because I've gone from higher cost services, cost to me, to lower cost to me services. So there's lots of financial numbers that you can look at, but those are really, if you understand those two, you have enough to understand your business. The next thing that I recommend that you look at is lead generation. Specifically, where does your business come from? If you're not tracking this, this is an incredibly important thing to track, even if you're just you don't need a fancy CRM system that you're going to spend a bunch of money and time on. You just need to make sure that you're tracking this somehow, right? So you can do it in your billing system, whatever, wherever you want to do it. Just track, where are these people coming from? Specifically, are they coming to you from social media and they never knew you anywhere else, right? Did they come through an ad? Did they come through a recommendation? Were they, if you have a retail location, were they a walk-in? Were they a repeat customer? Understanding this is an essential part of developing your marketing plan for next year, because you're going to understand, how are people coming to me? I'm going to give you an example. So as I look back at this, and I've been working on this, not necessarily with my accountant, but going back and really looking at, okay, where are my lead sources coming from, right? How do people find me? I realized that it's not Facebook groups. I spend a lot of time engaging with people in Facebook groups, right? It's, I don't run ads, but I don't think it would probably be from ads. It might, but I don't run those. It's not from search engine optimization, right? It's not SEO. It's not people finding me that way. The number one way that people find me is through word of mouth and through networking. And so one of the things that I'm doing as I move into 2023 is, instead of maybe adding on, more ads or more social media or, more of other types of things, I'm going to take that budget and that time and I'm going to actually put it into deepening those network relationships, right? Those networking relationships, getting more embedded in with my local community and the local entrepreneurs here, because that's what brings me money. But I wouldn't have understood that if I wasn't tracking where my leads come from. And so anytime I'm doing marketing planning with a business, this is one of the most important things we talk about, which is, we put together, hey, who are you? What do you want to do? What's the difference you want to make? What makes you different from everybody else, right? Who's your target audience? Where are they now? Where do they want to be? What are our key messages going to be? And then the next question is, where do these people go to find information? Because you need to know how people are finding you. Because once you know that, then you know where to find them, right? So if people are finding you, let's say one of my girlfriends, I forgot to wear the hat today, but she made me this amazing Santa hat. Look on my social media and there's links to her. Her name's Deborah, and she makes this amazing, like, custom knitted hat, right? So she makes most of her business through farmers market, street fairs, right? Those types of things. So for her, she's like, okay, this is how I get most of my business. Let me continue to do that next year. Now, she might also want to innovate and add some other things, in the future, but she really understands by looking at her revenue exactly what her lead sources are, right? So that's from a lead generation perspective. The next thing is your marketing efforts. Now, there are, depending on what you're doing, there are all different types of metrics that you can look at, right? So if you're doing ads, there's one set of metrics. If you're doing social media, there's a different set of metrics. If you are, let's say you're doing print advertising and a lot of magazines, or if you're doing public relations or podcasts, right? No matter what you're doing, there's going to be different metrics that you can track. However, the biggest ones that you kind of want to keep in mind are reach. So reach is depending on the area where you're, the medium that you're looking at, but reach is how many people saw your stuff, essentially, right? How many people had exposure to your stuff? So an example of reach. So if you have a billboard on, let's say, the Dallas North Tollway, which is a big road here, right? So you've got a billboard, and if, let's say, 10,000 people drive by every day, the reach of that ad would be 10,000 people, okay? So that would be the reach. On social media, you can look up in the metrics and see what's the reach. If you're doing ads, you'll be able to find that as well, right? If you're doing like print, or that's online ads. If you're doing print ads, they will give you a report on the reach that you got, or the the number of views or visibility that you got. So reach is the most important one. So how many people were able to see your stuff is generally what reach means. The next thing you want to understand is how many of those people actually engaged with your content. So then going back to the billboard example, right? Just because 10,000 people drive by your billboard every day doesn't mean that they're going to actually do anything about it. So what you want to understand is how many of those 10,000 people are actually doing something, right? They're going to your website, they're calling the 800 number, right? So let's say if you were doing a billboard, you probably want a phone number that was specific to that billboard, right? Or a website that was specific to that billboard. So you understood, right, what the return on investment was based on how much you spent and how many people engaged. Here's the thing is that a lot of us spend a lot of money on reach type things, right? Where, oh, we just want to get eyeballs. All I need to do is get eyeballs. When you're a small business, you're going to spend a lot of money getting eyeballs that you don't know if it's really going to do anything. I recommend trying to find activities where you're going to be getting the highest amount of click-throughs or the highest amount of engagement based on your spend. So I'll give you an example. Facebook ads are great. Let's say you're doing a freebie, right? Facebook ads are a great way to do that. Let's say you spend $200 on ads on Facebook, right? And out of that, you get a reach of 2,000 people, and 200 of those people click on your link, right? And then what you want to know next is how many of those people bought, right? So let's say 100 of them bought. They buy it for $1 each, just to make the math easy, right? So now you've made $100. So you want to understand the flow of that, because otherwise you could spend a lot of money on ads and not have them do anything, right? You could say, oh, but my ads, was reached by, now I forget the numbers that I gave you. But anyway, my ad was reached by 2,000 people. That's awesome. It doesn't matter if nobody clicks on it, right? So you want to have a very practical view of your advertising, particularly when you're early on in your business, right? You're spending a much higher percentage than normal of your time and your money on marketing, right? Most small businesses spend 12 to 20% of their revenue on marketing early on in your business. It might be significantly more than that. So you want to be really, really precious with that money. So you want to make sure the things that you're doing are really giving you the ROI. And this is how you find it. How many people had the ability to see it, and how many people actually took action after they saw it. So I hope that is helpful. It gets a little complicated. I mean, I have worked at Fortune 500 companies, right? I've had $10 million marketing budgets where we have just spreadsheets and, full like teams of, analysts who look at all of the metrics. And, like for email marketing, we sent out this many emails, and we, this many clicks and this many opens. And I mean, you can get very, very, very deep and complex here, but at the end of the day, what you really want to know is how much money did I spend? How many eyeballs did I get? And how many people interacted? Because if they're not interactive, they're not buying, the eyeballs mean nothing. So don't do it. Just one other thing I want to say on this. I was meeting with a client earlier this week, and they have an opportunity to like get mentioned in like their local kind of magazine or newspaper. And, you know, while the newspaper was like, they had a 5,000 person reach, the chances of someone doing something from a magazine are very low. Also, the ability to track it is real challenging, right? To know exactly if it made an impact or not. The great thing about digital marketing is you know if things worked or if they don't. And so that's one of the reasons why so many small businesses focus on digital marketing as opposed to some more traditional things like billboards or print advertising or those types of things, because it's real hard to track exactly what your return on investment is. So try not to sign up for things that are reach or eyeballs only. Try to do things particularly early in your business where you really understand exactly what's happening, because then you can tune in your marketing. Now, down the road, right? Now you're in year, 3, 4. Okay, now you can start, now that you've perfected your digital marketing, now you can start adding on some more of those more traditional things and expanding your reach that way. But you want to, I think, first start with digital marketing and really solidifying that. If you guys have any questions about this, please let me know. I meet with businesses and talk to them about this all day, every single day, right? I work with many companies one-on-one, either monthly, bi-monthly, every single week. And these are the types of things we talk about. What exactly should you be doing with your marketing? What should your message be? Where should you be? How do you track that? How do we know if it's working? If it's not working, what should we do next, right? So if you guys need any help on that, send me a direct message. I'd love to work with you. So the other thing, so we've talked about some financial, right? Sort of the numbersy type side of the business. I also like to spend some time at the end of the year doing sort of more of the emotional metrics, because especially as solopreneurs and even just as entrepreneurs, even if we have a team, if we're not really in it and we're not really loving what we're doing, it's going to be very difficult for us to lead other people and or to stay really in the right mindset that we need to be in order to come to our businesses high energy, high value, there to support clients. It takes a lot of work and a lot of emotional and mental work to stay in that place. And so this is a great opportunity for you to kind of look at that, right? So ask yourself things like, how do I feel in my business, right? Am I having fun, right? Because honestly, if you're not having fun in life, like, don't do it. Just go do something else, right? No one's going to judge you if you're going to have more fun going and working at Walmart. So I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I mean, most people know this. This isn't like a secret or anything. But when I first got sober, and so I was in the corporate world for a real long time, and then, life fell apart, and I ended up, having a couple years of a real struggle with alcohol addiction, and ended up getting sober about 7 years ago. And when I first got sober, I was like, I had my own business. I'm like, I can't run my own business. Like, it doesn't feel good. I'm not having fun. It completely overwhelms me because I've got all this other stuff happening in my life right now. And so I went and worked in anthropology, and I didn't make a ton of money, right? I made just, I made enough to made enough to buy myself lots and lots of clothes, which I don't recommend working in anthropology for that, because you're going to spend a lot of money on clothes. But I sat down with this and I said, in my business, how am I feeling? Right. And do I need to take a break from it? I don't see anything wrong with entrepreneurs who are like, you know what, I'm going to do this for a while, and then I'm going to do something else for a while. I'm going to go work for someone else for a while. But you really need to be honest with yourself and sit down regularly and say, how do I feel in my business? Am I having fun? If I'm not having fun, what do I need to do? Right. One thing could be, I'm going to go do something else. Right. So I still had my business, but I went and worked in anthropology because I wanted to be around people. I wanted to do something else that was kind of fun. I just needed to shake up my environment a little bit. bit. And so I went and did that. So what are the things I need to do, right? I need to rededicate. I can tell you one of the things I'm doing in my business right now, because I'm starting to feel a little, it's the end of the year, feeling a little stale, a little overwhelmed. I joined a co-working place. So I'm over at Common Desk, which is one of the co-working facilities. It's like VentureX, or I can't remember the other ones. But when I'm feeling like, oh my God, I can't get anything done or a little overwhelmed, I just go over there and it immediately resets my energy. So having some time to sort of look at these key emotional metrics, kind of review them, it really gives you the opportunity to say, where am I at? How am I feeling? Right? Honor yourself for how you're feeling, and then come up with a plan. Like, is there something else that I should be doing? And that's some of the things we're going to talk about next week as well. This week, just spend some time reflecting on that, right? Am I making the impact that I want to make? Is a huge part of why we're entrepreneurs, right? Many of us come to entrepreneurship because we want to make a difference in the world. And so are you making the impact that you want to make, right? And if not, then we'll start to, we'll figure out how to change that. Is my income where I want to be? Because at the end of the day, right? Yes, this is fun and we all love our businesses, but at the end of the day, we also have to pay our bills. And if you're not achieving the income that you want, or don't see the ability to achieve the income that you want, you're going to lose interest, and your heart is going to fall out of your business real quick. And you're not going to stay in the mindset of being able to serve. Because if you're struggling with your own finances, you're not going to be able to show up fully for your clients. And so some of that is mindset, but some of it is also just being realistic. Like, where am I from an income perspective? And then next week we'll talk about, how do we get you to the place that you want to be? The other piece is, am I authentically showing up in my business? For especially solopreneurs, but anyone who's creating a personal brand, right? Like me, where you're the face of your brand, being able to feel like you're really authentically showing up, you're really sharing the vulnerable stories, right? Like, I've just told you guys a couple stories that are pretty vulnerable for me to share, but I believe that only by us sharing our stories are we able to sort of destigmatize, right? We see all these like perfect entrepreneurs and like, I work from the beach, from anywhere, and you're like, whatever, right? Like, it's not always that easy. It's hard sometimes, right? So part of my authenticity is being willing to get out there and, talk about the unflattering sides of entrepreneurship as well. But you want to be doing that in your business as well, in whatever way that is authentic to you. It might not be the same way that it is for me, but are you able to show up in your business? Are you in, that goes back to this idea of joy and this idea of making an impact and being of service, right? Are you feeling whole and connected in your business? So great journaling exercises for you to do over the next, week or so. And then again, next week, we're going to talk about planning for 2023. So here's another look at the key business metrics for you to review. Here's another look at your emotional metrics to review. And if this is something that you guys want to talk about more next week, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about journal prompts to prep you for 2023. So next week on Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time, we're going to talk about, some of the things you want to think about as you are planning into 2023. And I know, again, a lot of us are going to be doing that over the holidays. So I wanted to give you guys some ideas of the things that I'm going to be working on and that I've been working on with my clients over the last couple of weeks in preparation for 2023. And if this all sounds great, but you know that you need somebody to kind of help walk you through all of this marketing, how to run your business, how to grow your business, how to greater visibility for yourself, I would love to work with you. I have just launched, as part of my one-on-one coaching or my one-on-one mentorship, I've just added on content co-creation sessions. So here's how this works. I've been doing one-on-one mentorship with clients for, years, but what I've heard from so many people is, God, I just need somebody to sit down and do it with me, right? I need the accountability, and I also just don't know how to do it, right? Like, I don't know how to do it. I get nervous doing reels. It's too overwhelming, right? Can you please just come to my office and sit down with me and we'll do it together? And so that's something that I'm doing, and I absolutely love it. I can tell you, when you go back to the questions that we were just going over about being like really centered in your business and really excited about your business and feeling if you're making the biggest impact. Adding on these content creation services has been so much fun for me, so much fun for my clients. Everybody is so excited about it, right? They're all like, so, we sometimes we'll meet in person. Sometimes we'll just talk on the phone, on Zoom and have a strategy session. But everyone is absolutely loving this and getting so much value out of it. So I'm so excited to be announcing it officially. I wanted to do a test for a couple months with a few clients, see how it was going. But if this sounds like something that you really need, please let me know. We can, again, most of my clients have meetings with me every other week. And usually what we'll do is 1 week, we'll talk about strategy. What are we doing? What's the calendar? What things are coming up? How's revenue going, right? How's expending going? And then the second week, I'll actually come down to their offices, or they'll come, we'll meet in a studio or whatever. And we'll actually sit down and create things together, reels. Or like I met with a client yesterday and she recorded an upcoming training that she's doing. And I took reels of her doing it, right? I took little videos of her doing that along the way. And then I was like, you know what? I really like this part. So can you just do a little reel for that? And then we sat down and like organized all of it together, exactly when we're going to run it, exactly how we're going to do the promotion. And it was really, really fabulous. And the amount of things you can get done in that 90-minute session is incredible. And she was, hopefully able to leave that meeting and have everything she needed to do. We had almost, 3 weeks worth of content like done, ready to go. So if that's something that you're interested in, give me a holler or head over to my website. It's didi.marketing, DIDI.marketing. And I would love to work with you. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Thank you so much. Oh, wait. That was just my slide, not me. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm super excited. Hopefully I will see you next Thursday. I know it's getting close to the holidays, so you can watch a replay of this anytime. It'll be on all of my social channels. And I am so excited to help support you into 2023 with creating incredible marketing plans that are super easy, help you create the content, walk alongside you to help you grow your business. And I will talk to you soon. Have a fabulous day.